told your friend you're not okay.
Today, January 11th, is the day when the world seems to lower its own volume. A date that might seem ordinary to some, but for those who witnessed Jungkook's moves in the Calvin Klein campaign, it becomes a landmark. Welcome back to Top K-pop, where every moment of Korean entertainment is dissected with serenity, depth, and unexpected surprises. On this day, we didn't come to rush. We didn't come to interpret in a loud voice. We came to realize that there are moments that need no explanation, because they speak without words. What happened today wasn't a visual explosion that grabbed attention. On the contrary, this moment existed like the surface of a still air, so much so that anyone watching it paused, involuntarily, just to feel its calm. When the video began, there was no urge to speed up. There was no provocation asking us to be captivated. There was only a subtle pull, a kind of gentle gravity that beckoned without words. An invitation to linger even when the initial intention was simply to glance. Watching Jungkook dance today wasn't like watching a performance. It was more like a visual meditation. There's a strange yet captivating paradox. Movements that should be energetic are actually calming. His body moves, but the viewer's heart slows. In an era when the world seems to be racing to fill every second with overstimulation, the courage to show empty space, to pause, is revolutionary. Jungkook doesn't try to master every beat. He lets the comfort live between the movements. And therein lies his power. Calvin Klein, which usually crafts visuals with a bold aesthetic and a strong brand voice, did something rarely seen. They stepped aside. They made room for a human being, not just an icon. They let Jungkook be the center not out of strategy, but because his presence fills the space effortlessly. What's created isn't an advertisement. What's created is an atmosphere that can only emerge when the camera captures someone truly present in themselves. The journey to this kind of serenity didn't happen overnight. Jungkook is someone who thrives under relentless pressure, expectation, and demands. He's been through times when every move had to be perfect, every count had to be precise, every performance had to be top-notch. But what we see today isn't fatigue. It's not giving up. This is the maturity that comes after years of carrying burdens and finally understanding that not all burdens need to be carried. There comes a moment when someone is brave enough to lay them down. And when they lay down, that serenity simply radiates. What was most surprising about today's performance wasn't the statistics or the virality. It was the fact that so many people felt seen. Not marketed. Not directed. They felt accompanied. Jungkook wasn't dancing for the audience. He was dancing with them, in a slow rhythm, in an energy that made anyone feel allowed to pause. It was as if he were silently saying, "You can rest. You can be present without having to be anything." When the video ended, there was no dramatic climax. No victory pose. No signal forcing the audience to conclude anything. Yet, strangely, the feeling lingered. It lingered in a way that wasn't intrusive, not burning, but lingering, like a subtle yet unforgettable scent. This was the mark of something authentic. Something that didn't try to leave a mark, but instead lingered in the memory without any demand. Today, the dance wasn't a spectacle. Not a talent contest. Not a testament to superiority. The dance becomes an evolutionary expression of one's presence within oneself, calm, controlled, unexaggerated, yet meaningful. And that's a quality that doesn't fade quickly. People will return to this video, not to count the steps or find the choreography. They will return to rediscover the feeling they found today. A feeling of stability, connection, and wholeness. January 11th is now a date that won't scream. It will remain silent, but a silence that leaves an echo. A silence that lives among those who feel it. A silence that carries the message that true strength doesn't always come in intensity or volume. Sometimes strength lies in standing still and letting the world approach. And precisely because of that, in short, the world today witnessed something shifting within Jungkook, and that shift was felt not in what he showed, but in what he let go. Viewers who listened with a slow heart today sensed that this stillness wasn't just an artistic concept. It was a silent statement, a new chapter told not through words but through the way he stood, moved, and remained still. One of the most captivating things about this moment was how he handled space. Each step wasn't meant to fill the screen, but to allow the viewer to find their own interpretation. This is what made this moment continue to expand, to evolve in our minds, like air flowing with the shape of its container. Viewers weren't forced into a particular emotion. They were given the freedom to create their own, a freedom rarely afforded in a world that typically demands quick reactions. And behind the camera that captured it, there was a resonance that couldn't be faked. It was as if Jungkook today was demonstrating that one doesn't have to move quickly to appear powerful. One doesn't have to display intensity to be influential. His subtlety can be more piercing than loudness. silence can be more moving than a scream. And that's what left many people thinking long after the video ended. What kind of force actually silenced the world for a moment? Perhaps the explanation lies in the phase of his life. The Jungkook we see today is not the same Jungkook from a few years ago. There's a maturity that isn't announced, only broadcast. There's a comfort that isn't faded, only felt. We're watching someone who isn't trying to prove himself, but is being himself, completely. And that kind of honesty always hits deeper than any learned technique. In the stillness of his movements, there's a long history whispering. Years of running relentlessly. Years when he couldn't fail. Years when every step felt like a demand. But what's happening today proves that he's made peace with all of that. That he's reached a point where he doesn't need to surpass anyone, because he's enough on his own. And in that, the audience finds a closeness they didn't expect. Because deep behind the scenes, we've all been at that point where the world is moving too fast and we want to slow it down. Jungkook did this today, not just for himself, but for everyone watching. It's as if his slow movements were saying, it's okay to slow down. It's okay to be still. It's okay to breathe. That's why this video feels like a pause the universe has given us without warning. A small moment that gives us the opportunity to pause without guilt. To feel connected without having to say anything. To feel without having to explain. And in the end, when the world resumes its normal activities, something about this moment remains within us. Like a light dusting accidentally on clothing, we carry it with us without realizing it. A subtle reminder that amidst the harshness of the world, there's a space where silence can be a language. There's a space where stillness can be a strength. There's a space where someone can be present not to impress, but to accompany. This moment, born from death, will be sought after again. Not for its drama, not for its grandeur, but for its honesty. When the world returns to its normal pace, people will return to find that pause. To find that breath. Finding peace can only come when one dares to stand without a mask and simply be oneself. And whether the world realizes it or not, January 11th has become a date that brings a kind of comfort to anyone who remembers it. A peace that isn't empty, but full. Filled with meaning that doesn't require understanding, it just needs to be felt.